Hi again everybody, welcome to the third instalment of Joey Banks's Value of the Week. How did you go last week? Did you remember what it was? Hopefully you did. It was respect. Did you think about how we show respect to those around us? Did you try a little harder at home? Did you try thinking about respecting your friends or respecting your teachers? Did it make a difference? Remember, with this whole program, there's only one way we're going to get any benefit out of it, and that is by becoming involved. Really, what have you got to lose? It is all a bit of an experiment, and at worst, the worst that can happen is everything stays the same. But there is a good chance that your life, your relationships, everything else about it could make an improvement for the better. But we're not going to know unless we give it a go. So what have you got to lose? Anyway, enough about that. Let's get into this week's value. But before we do, I want to tell you a little story because I like little stories. Your parents or your grandparents, and I know my parents and grandparents, especially my grandparents, didn't have a lot of money when they were growing up. Instead of throwing things away when they became chipped or broken, they would repair them and they would then reuse them. For instance, when their socks got holes in the end of the toes, which mine do all the time, they would then sew them up. They used to call that darning their socks. And then they'd reuse them. But for us today, we don't often consider repairing old things. We go to the shopping centre and we go and buy new stuff. We replace the old with new. We live in what's become a disposable society. We don't appreciate what we've got because it's too easy to replace it. Which takes us on to this week's value, appreciation. This week, I want us to look at the idea of appreciation. We are so blessed to live where we live, how we live, in the place that we live. It becomes so important that we take time to appreciate what we've got and how good we've got it. We have so many blessings that have been given to us. Just by living where we do, being born in Australia or coming to Australia and living here, we are already ahead of so many others in the world's population. Have a think about it. There are kids today who are not worried about whether their friends are saying stuff about them on Facebook or whether they charge up their laptop and they've got to go and see Mr. Duffy for another battery. They're actually worrying about where they're going to get their next meal. They're worrying about where they're going to sleep tonight. And unfortunately, it's a reality for too many people. Some of you may have relatives who, that's the case. It's very easy for us to get caught up in ourselves. But just for one moment, I want you to stop and have a think about it. I want you to take a moment to think about how it feels when somebody points out to you something you're doing nice to them. Or when you point out to them that they're doing something nice. You might say, hey, I like your new haircut, or your jokes are really funny, or something similar to that. The flip side of it is it can be really upsetting, really difficult when you don't feel appreciated for something nice that you do for somebody else. The good thing about appreciation is it costs us nothing, zero. It's a little act that is free, but it can make someone feel incredible. It can make them feel invincible. And as a result, they often want to put more work in to be able to get that appreciation from you again. They know that their efforts are respected. Have a think about the classes that you work better in. Is there a reason? Why do you try a little bit harder? Is it because your teacher shows you appreciation? Is it because you feel you're encouraged and you're acknowledged a little bit more? This week, how can we show our appreciation to our friends and our teachers? Or at home? Make an effort every day this week to have 10 signs of your appreciation to somebody. It could be as simple as thanking your friend when they share some food or when they give you some money to be able to go to the canteen. It could be thanking them when you get on the bus. Imagine if we got on the bus and everybody's cooperating, everybody's sharing, no one's pushing and shoving, all right? Or it could be letting your teacher know, hey miss, thanks for a great lesson. You must have put a lot of thought into that. Because they do, your teachers do, I've seen it. Try this at home. Too often we forget to show our appreciation to our family. Make an effort this week to thank whoever it is that prepared the meal for you. The secret to showing somebody that you really like their effort, and the secret of appreciation is to be able to point out something that you really liked, something in particular. For example, thanks Mum, that was really tasty. It must have taken you some effort to prepare. Even the smallest amount of appreciation, the smallest amount of effort can make a big difference to someone's day. As a way of learning from this idea, come back to homeroom tomorrow and let's talk about the results of this experiment. Take note of the times that you've given appreciation to somebody and the reaction you get. Let's see what happens if you give somebody a compliment and then bring it back to homeroom tomorrow and tell everybody. Who knows? It might make a massive difference. And as I said at the start, if it doesn't, we're only where we started anyway. There's no change occurred. There's no danger in it, okay? Anyway, before I go, I want to tell you one famous quote from a lady called Michelle Obama. She's the United States of America's president's wife. And she said, success isn't about how much money you make. It's about the difference you make in people's lives. What difference can you make in somebody's life this week by showing them appreciation? Find something to thank them for and see if it makes a difference. Anyway, we'll talk to you next week, guys. Thanks.